Welcome to True Blue Me and You, How to Solve a Rubik's Cube. Before we get started, I'm going to quickly go over some of the terminology I will be using. I describe each side as a face. Whatever side is facing towards the ceiling is the top face. Whichever one is facing towards you is the front. Whichever one is on the left is the left face, and whichever one is on the right is the right face. So we have the top, front, left, and right. As far as turning the cube, when you turn the top face, we will describe it as turning to the left and turning to the right. When we talk about turning the left and right faces, we will describe it as turning it up and turning it down. And when we talk about turning the front face, we will describe it as turning it clockwise and turning it counterclockwise. All right, let's get started. The first step in solving a Rubik's Cube is to solve for the X on the top face. So I want these 4 spots to all be white. And as you can see, it will form an X, but that's not all. Also want the colors on the sides to match up. I'm going to go ahead and look for my first piece to solve. This one is white and red. So I need to get the red matched up with the red. How am I going to do that? I'm going to put the red into the bottom row right here. And then I just turn the bottom row until they line up. Turn the front face until they line up. And I have my whites matched up and my reds matched up. I'll go ahead and look for my next piece to solve. My greens are already lined up, so I'll just turn that and get everything good. Now this blue one is a little tricky because you already have the red solved, but that's okay. You put it in the bottom row and turn it to the side, and then you turn your front face back up, and as you can see, your red is still solved. And you go ahead and do that until you have all 4 spots solved, and you should have a nice X, and the colors should match on all 4 faces. The next step is to solve for the corners on the top face. We're going to go ahead and look for these 4 spots. We want them all to be white, and we also want each colored side to form a T. We have a white, green, and orange one right here. We're going to go ahead and put it into the bottom row. Now, if it's on the right side, we're going to turn the bottom row to the right. If it's on the left side, we'll turn it to the left. So we're going to go ahead and turn it to the right. We will turn the front face counterclockwise. And now we're going to go ahead and line it up. It's green and orange, so we want it between the green and orange. And then if it is on the right, we're going to turn to the left this time. And if it's on the left, you would do the opposite and turn it to the right. So we're turning it to the left. We're turning the right face down. We're turning the bottom row back to the right. Turning the right face back up. We can double check that it matches up. We'll turn it back up. And you should have it lined up just like so. Go ahead and look for our next piece. This one is orange and blue. So we want it over in this corner. How are we going to get it there? We're going to turn it down, and this doesn't get it in the bottom row. That's not quite what we want. It's an easy fix though. We turn this bottom face counterclockwise so it lines up. We turn the left face back up, and now it's in the bottom row, and we can go ahead and solve it like we did the last one. This one ended up on the left, so we turn the bottom row to the right. We turn the left face down, turn the bottom row to the left. It lines up. We turn it back up. As you can see, we have our first T done. Go ahead and solve our next one, red and green. We're doing the same thing we did last time, just on the opposite side. And our very last cube we'll go ahead and solve. Now I put this one on the bottom to show you how to do it if you end up with it here. So if it's already on the bottom, you want to line it up in that front left corner. If it's on the left side, it would be the opposite if it was on the right. So it lines up. We turn that left side down, and we are going to turn This bottom row to the left, you would do the opposite if you were doing it on the opposite side. Now you'll see it's in the bottom row and we can solve it normally. At this point, you can check that you have one side completely solved and 4 T's on each other side. The next step is to solve for the top 2 rows. You already have the top row solved, so we are solving for these 2 spots in the second row. I want to make sure the colors match on both sides. As you'll notice, my bottom color is yellow, so when we're looking for pieces, we want to look for ones with no yellow. So go ahead and look for a piece with no yellow. This one right here is green and red. I want to go ahead and line it up, line up the green with the green to make a big T. And since this one is green and red, it's going to be going in on the right. So we are going to go ahead and turn the bottom row to the left, turn the right face down, turn the bottom row to the right, turn the right face back up, bottom row to the right one more time, front face clockwise, bottom row to the left, front face counterclockwise, and you have the piece right where you want it. You repeat this pattern every time you go to solve a piece on the right, and it'll be the opposite on the left. So you can see we have 2 rows solved right now. We have an orange and blue piece. We're going to line it up. This one needs to go on the left, so we do the opposite. We turn the bottom row to the right, the left face down, the bottom row to the left face up, the bottom row to the left, the front face counterclockwise, the bottom row to the right, the front face clockwise, and it is solved. Now what happens if you have the piece in the right place but the colors are flipped? Don't worry about it, it's fine. You just go ahead and solve a different piece into that place. It will then be in the bottom row and you can solve it normally. Once you've solved all these spots, you want to double check that your top face is still complete and each side has 2 rows done. Now we are ready to move on to step 4, the bottom X. I'm going to go ahead and flip your cube. So for me, the yellow is my new top and the white is now the new bottom. Your front, left, and right faces should all be the same. You might have one of 4 options right now. You might be looking at just a yellow center. You might be looking at a yellow X. One thing to note, we are not talking about the 4 corners right now. Those don't matter. You might be looking at a yellow L shape like I have, or a yellow line. If you have an X, you don't need to do anything. This step, you can skip it and move on to the next one. If you have an L, you want to rotate your cube so that it's in the upper left-hand corner like mine. Just go ahead and turn it so that you're looking at it the same way I am. If you have a line, you want it to be horizontal, not vertical. Again, go ahead and turn your cube so that it's horizontal. No matter what, you're repeating the same pattern over and over again until you get an X on your top face. So if you already have an X, you do not need to do this step. Now I have a V in my upper left-hand corner, so I'm going to make sure it's oriented in the right spot, and it is, and then I will go ahead and start with the pattern. I am going to turn the right face up, the top face to the left, the right face down, the front face counterclockwise, the top face to the right, the front face clockwise, the right face up, the top face to the right face back down. As you can see, I now have a straight line. I'm just going to go ahead and turn my cube so that it is horizontal. Double check that nothing in any of the bottom layers has been messed up, and then I can go ahead and perform the pattern again until I get my X. Now we're on to step 5, which is aligning the X. As you will notice, the colors don't all match up with my X. You want to get your cube so you have either just one color matched up for this step, or if that doesn't work, you want to have no colors matched up. We'll go ahead and perform the same pattern again. Turn up. You're going to turn the top to the left 2 times, turn the right down, turn the top to the right once, right face up, top to the right, and the right face down. Now I'm going to go ahead and readjust my cube, twist the top until I have just one color matching, and then you just keep repeating this same pattern over and over again with your color matching on the front face until you have all 4 matching. Our 6th step is to align the corners. So these 4 corners, we don't necessarily want the yellow to be facing upwards, we just want all the colors to be in the right spot. So again, we have one pattern for this that we're just going to repeat until we get what we want. If we have one that already matches, we want to put it in the bottom left corner, but I don't, so I'm not going to. So we turn the right face up, top to the right, left face up, top to the left, right face down, top to the right, left face down, and the top to the left again. Now I'm going to look and see, oh, here's my one that matches up. I'll repeat that same pattern again and again until everything is matching. We're on to the 7th and final step, finishing the cube. So this is again a pattern that you just repeat until you get your desired results. We want to line it up so that if you have 2 yellows completed, you want them both on the left side. I don't have that, so I'm just going to go ahead and start the pattern. You turn the right side up, the top to the left twice, the right face down, the top to the right once, the right face up, the top to the right once, the right face down. You'll notice we did this pattern before, and you'll see all the colors are mixed up now, but we're not done yet. We're adding on. We're turning the left face up, top to the left twice, the left face down, the top to the left once, the left face up, the top to the left one more time, and the left face down. As you can see, I still do not have 2 yellows on the same side, so I need to redo this pattern until I do. So now I will solve it again with them on the left side. Sometimes you need to do this twice, sometimes you need to do it just once. As you can see, my cube is now solved. Double check all my sides. Voila!